فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتى اليقين فصلوات الله وسلامه عليه. My respected brothers and sisters, may Allah's peace, His guidance, His mercy, His protection and His forgiveness be with you, inshaAllah, in this life and in the next stage of life, the stage of qabr, and inshaAllah the day when we will be produced, will be brought, like it or not, will be brought back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ameen, thumma ameen. Inshallah, today we will start the program with an ayah of Surah Al-Isra, which is also, Surah Al-Isra is one of the surahs which has two names. One name is Surah Al-Isra and the other name is Surah Bani Israel. And both names are correct. Okay? So it is 17th surah, ayah number 9, and what Quran says about, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Quran in Quran. Then we will come to the recitation of the ayah of today, and the topic of the ayah of today, the ayah is 259 of second chapter, and the topic is the questions of Uzair alayhi salam, and about resurrection, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's answers about His absolute power and might, inshallah. So first, this ayah about what Allah says about Quran in Quran. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا صدق الله العظيم. Undoubtedly, this Quran guides to the most just and the most correct path, and gives the glad tidings, the good news to the believers who do the righteous deeds, that they shall have a great reward. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Now the question comes, who are the believers? So the believers are those, this is the explanation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and the explanation is, who are the believers? Believers are those who believe in oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's number one thing. Oneness of Allah. And after that, His angels, and then His books, and then all His messengers and prophets, and the day of judgment. They do the righteous deeds, they refrain from deliberate disobedience of Allah, and they give the right of Allah to Allah, and the right of people to people, and to other things which are around them. They practice and preach justice. They practice and preach justice, peace, and patience, sabr. And if they make mistakes, what they do? They run immediately to repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and expect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's and beg for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness and His mercy and His rewards. And His rewards are what? His rewards are the Jannah, that you would receive the forgiveness of Allah, and then you would receive the, inshallah, be entered in Jannah. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. My respected brothers and sisters, you know better than I do that this is the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the message and the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent all these books and all these prophets and messengers. This was the message. Which in Arabic we say, Amantu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulih. Till the end of the thing. In a layman's term, it is our claim that we have a faith is only proven by following the legislations of Allah which are provided in Book of Allah and Sunnat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That is Iman. If it is not, then no matter what we call ourselves, we are not what we say we are. So, ayadu billah. So, inshallah, today we start the recitation from this ayah. It's a long ayah, but wonderful, wonderful ayah. And we will come to talk about the logic of this ayah, inshallah. We need to understand that how the ayat of Quran are related to each other. And if we don't understand that, we are not understanding Quran. وَأَيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها فأمات الله 100 عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت قال لبثت 100 عام قال لبثت يوما أو بعد يوم قال لبثت يوما أو بعد يوم قال بل لبثت 100 عام فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنه وانظر إلى حمارك ولنجعلك آية للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف ننشزها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. صدق الله العظيم. The translation of this ayah, my respected brothers and sisters, or the example of the one who passed by a town which has been turned into ruins. He said, how will Allah bring this town back to life after it has turned into ruins? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused him to die for 100 years, and then revived him, then brought him back to life, resurrected him. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, how long did you remain dead? He said, a day or part of the day. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, nay, rather you have remained dead for 100 years. Look at your food and your drink. It has not changed with time. It has not changed with time. But look at your donkey. Look at your donkey. And we will make you a sign for the people. A sign, naj'alaka ayah. We'll make you a sign for people. And look at the bones of your donkey. How we collect them. And then we cover them with flesh. How we cover the bones with flesh. And when it became evident to him, he said, I know, now I learned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do all things. Sadaqallahu al-Ladeen. Tafsir of this ayah, my respected brothers and sisters, this is a wonderful, wonderful ayah. And there is a theme in Quran which you would not find in any book whatsoever. And the theme is that in last week's ayah number 258, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us about Nimrod, the Namrud, in Turkish Namrud, who claimed that he is the Lord, astaghfirullah, na'udhu billah. And Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam challenged him because he was the only one in the entire kingdom. In the entire country, he was the only one who refused to go down to Nimrod. So when he challenged him that if you are the Lord, then my Lord bring the sun from east. If you are the Lord, then bring it from west. Which Namrud cannot fulfill. Namrud knew that, Namrud knew the reality that he cannot do it. He cannot bring the sun out from the west. But his arrogance and his pride, takabbur, ghurur, in his pride and arrogance and his stubbornness made him defiant even against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and made him dispute even the existence of one and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This was the theme of ayah number 258. Before that, It's from ayah number 255, we were talking about Ayat al-Kursi. And then we talked about that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the friend of those. لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى لا انفصام لها والله سميع عليم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that there is no compulsion in religion. Told them Allah is the friend. Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Why? When there is no compulsion, when good and bad has been completely, clearly shown to people, now it is up to you which path you choose. Because if your action going to hurt, it's not going to hurt Allah, astaghfirullah, it's going to hurt you. So you should protect yourself. You should stand by what is right. You should practice peace and justice and equality. And you should pay the rights of Allah to Allah and rights of people to people. Okay? Because it is in your favor. It goes for you, not against you. But if you don't want to, then go ahead and do whatever you like. If a king like Nimrod did not own anything and didn't have any control on the natural phenomenon, then who am I? How can I control anything? I don't even control my life and death. And we need to realize that. This ayah shows the examples. Those ayat were about those, Allahu waliyyu alladhina amanu, that those who are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is friend of those who follow him. And those who follow the taghut, the shayateen, then Allah takes the people out from the darkness and bring them back to nur, to the light of faith and to the sirat mustaqim. But those who follow taghut, those who follow the wrong path, their friends is taghut. أولياءهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. This ayah shows, ayah number 259, the examples of those who may have questions, who may wonder about things, but they continue to believe on oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they seek Allah's guidance to clear matters for them, show them the right path. And how do we become one of those who are asking for right path? We pray. And when we don't know the meaning of our prayer, what we are saying, we are not looking for the right path. What we are saying in our prayer, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, teaching us. That's what this ayah is about. That this ayah is about the one who had a question, but he asked Allah to guide him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided him. So we are going to take the first portion of this ayah, which says, أو كالذي مر على قرية وهي خاوية على أروشها قال أن يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها. And it's the example of the example of the one who passed by a town which turned upside down into ruins. The Arabic word, my respected brothers and sisters, aw means or English word, or, or, is a conjunction which has its normal meaning, normal meaning here. The second word is khawiyatun ala urushiha. It means the ruins, something without people in it. Something which is completely empty, without people in it. Urush means the roofs. Roofs of any house or any structure, any building. And the walls of the town were lying flat on the ground. Means وَخَاوِيَةٌ عَلَى أُرُوشِهَا, that the floor and the roof and the pillars and armida, they were all on top of each other. Everything was in ruin. Ibn Jarir and Ibn Abi Hatim reported from Sayyidina Ali Ibn Abi Talib Karamallahu Wajh wa radiyallahu an Sayyidina Ali, and Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas, Al-Hassan, Qatada, Sulaiman ibn Buraidah, and Imam As-Suddi rahmatullah alayh said that the person mentioned in this ayah, his name was Uzair alayhi salam, who was not a prophet at that time. when he was passing by this city. He was not a prophet at that time, but he was one of the scholars of children of Israel, the tribe of Bani Israel. And he was going, he went out for some days for something which he needed to an area called Dayar Hisqal. Dayar Hisqal, on the banks of river Tigris. Tigris is the river which is today in Arabic we call it Dajla. There are two rivers, Dajla and Firat. They also pass through Turkey and all that, especially Firat. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas and Sayyidina Najiyya ibn Ka'ab Ikramah and Ad-Dahhak said that the one who passed by the town was Uzair alayhi salam. Then he became the earlier prophet of children of Israel. But when he was passing by that town, to this area which has turned into ruins, at that time he was not a prophet but just only a scholar. He stopped, tied his donkey under the shade of a tree, and then went around looking at this town, which was in completely deserted. There was nobody. All the houses were khawiyatun ala urushiha. They were all turned upside down, ruined. The Uzair alayhi salam at that time questioned that if the town is in this condition, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring this town back to life again, and how he would do it after it has died. Ibn Ziyad said, and some other scholars said, that it was the town from which its people were taken in captivity. And this story is also mentioned in ayah number 2, in the second chapter, ayah number 243. We have talked about this in ayah number 243, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe more. Uzair stood there thinking about what happened to that city and its residents. The people used to live there, and now they are not there. They have been taken. The houses have turned upside down. Everything is in ruins. And how would those people come back, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bring this town on life, give its life back to him. He said, oh, how will Allah ever bring it back to life after it is death? Because of the utter destruction, this is Tafsir Al-Qur'an says, because of the utter destruction he saw and the implausibility that it is not possible of his returning to what it used to be before. Everything was done. Al-Qutaybi said that 70 years after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Uzair, 70 years after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put Uzair to death, 400 years, the ruins of the village were restored by a Persian king, and his name was Kushk. So the village was named Kushk al-Farisi. The village was named Kushk al-Farsi. Kushk, one of the Faris of Iran. And he allowed Israelites to return to that village after it was built. Uzair was not questioning. We need to know that Uzair was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger at that time. He was a scholar only, he was not a messenger. So he was questioning at that time. And when he questioned, he was not questioning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power or might or majesty, but just that what mean and method Allah uses to bring something back to life. Not questioning the why or how or whether Allah would do it or not do it. This is not our place to question Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we can say that how does that happen? And then we go and search for how did it happen. So the next portion of the ayah comes, it says, فَأَمَاتَهُ اللَّهُ مِيَةَ آمٍ ثُمَّ بَعَثَهُ. So Allah caused him to die for 100 years. And then revived him back to life. After hearing Uzair's question, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him die, told the angels of death that go take his ruh, his spirit and his soul out of his body for 100 years. Put him to death for 100 years. As-Suddi and At-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi and Ibn Ziyad and many other scholars said that Allah caused him to die a complete death. It's not that he put him to sleep like the Ashab Kahf. They are not dead. Ashab Kahf, they are sleeping. They are not dead. But in case of Uzair, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he questioned resurrection. that how will Allah bring something back to life again? So back to life means the life was taken out and how it will be put back. Right? It is not sleeping, though it is a condition of death, but it is almost half death and 90% death, Allah knows. Right? But it is not death. Sleep is not death. But it is one of the conditions, stages of death. Now, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took his life out, that was ruh out, angels took the ruh out, he was he faced complete death. After 100 years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrected Uzair. And the first organ, my respected brothers and sisters, where Allah put, first organ he brought back to life was Uzair's eyes only. The rest of the body was dead. And his bones were all destructed, all gone. He himself turned into ruins, just like the area which he was questioning about. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him his eyes back. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, this city which we are talking about, and the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought his eyes back, because his question was about resurrection. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted him to be an eyewitness, seeing his own body, how that is being resurrected, and how it will be covered with flesh, and how the ruh is going to be put in his body, and how he would stand up. And then he will face the question. Okay? So the life came back, was given back. Only the one organ that was, a set of eye, one organ, 2 eyes. That was the first thing that was brought back to life by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was in the vicinity of it was a huge, vast province of Jerusalem, which was destroyed by a king, Roman king was Nabuchodonosor. So Nabuchodonosor and the children of Israel, he destroyed the town, that town also where these people were, and where Uzair was questioning about. And he took all the residents of that, inhabitants of that city to Babylon with him, which is part of Iraq and part of Turkey and part of Syria today, the boundaries of today. The city was rebuilt. That city which he questioned. And here is Uzair, just contemplate, think about this. Here is Uzair put to death, left there where he was, and where he put his donkey under the shade of the tree. Allah put him to death right there for 100 years. And 70 years after Allah put him to death, 70 years after that, this Persian king came and fought with the Nabuchodonosor, and then he took over that area. And then he rebuilt the town. And he started, he asked children of Israel to come back from Babylon when they were freed, and the population increased in those 70 years. Then what happened? Then comes the ayah, the portion of the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قَالَ كَمْ لَبِثْتَ قَالَ لَبِثْتُ يَوْمًا أَوْ بَعْدَ يَوْمٍ لَبِثْتُ يَوْمًا أَوْ بَعْدَ يَوْمٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, how long did you remain dead? How long did you remain dead? The man said, well, I will use the word man because that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means as in person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not name Uzair in this, but it comes into many tafsir and the sayings of Sayyidina Ali and Abdullah ibn Abbas and some of the ahadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained that this is Uzair. But let me go a little bit a different direction in this. Uzair was one of the person which Quran names it later on. وَقَالَتِ الْيَهُودُ أُزَيْرُ إِبْنَ اللَّهِ وَقَالَتِ النَّصَارَى مَسِيحُ إِبْنَ اللَّهِ. That the Yahud, some of the Jews started saying that Uzair is son of God. Uzair is son of God. Because when you see miracles from somebody, it does not mean that he has the power of God, but it means that he's a human and he has been given power by God. Not he doesn't have power. He doesn't have power. But he was given power by God. It was the mercy of Allah which he decided to bestow upon him a certain thing. But people, those who don't have faith, you see, the basic element of faith is what? There is no God but Allah. There is no God but God, right? This is the first condition which I mentioned, the ayah of Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 9 of 17th chapter. I mentioned it. That who are the believers? The believers are those who believe that there is no God but Allah. There is no God but God Himself. That's it. No matter how you name Him, He's the only one. He doesn't have sons, He does not have daughters, He doesn't have in-laws or outlaws. He doesn't, because He's not human. These are human attributes, and those are human weaknesses that we need. We need those relationships, because if we don't have it, we cannot continue. We cannot continue our progeny. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not need those weaknesses which humans have. Astaghfirullah, na'udhu billah. He is competent and able and capable of everything. You know, He was always there, He is there, He will always be there. Kullu man alayha fan wa yabqa wajhu rabbika dhul jalali wal ikram. Everything will end except the face of your Lord, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is the miracle which we don't have. We are all dying. We are all dying. Yes, there is water in the jug there, and the glasses are in the cabinet. Thank you. So it says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, how long did you remain dead? He said, the man said, a day or part of the day. A day or part of the day. So when the resurrection was completed, okay, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the life, the ruh came to his eyes, and after that it went to all over his body, and he's seeing himself personally, eyewitnessing that how his dead body, his bones were brought together, and he was resurrected. At that time Allah questioned that how long did you remain dead? So he said, perhaps, maybe, perhaps I remained dead a day or part of the day. Thank you, sir. Part of the day. Then a day or part of the day. The voice Uzair heard was not the voice. The voice Uzair heard was not the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was the voice of Jibreel alayhi salam. Allah sent Jibreel to communicate. This is the duty of Jibreel. So Allah called him. Allah told Jibreel to go to him and ask him, Kam labith? Oh man, how long did you remain dead? So he said, Labithu yawman aw ba'da yawm. That I remain dead if for a day or maybe a part of the day. That was the voice of Jibreel alayhi salam asking Uzair alayhi salam that question. Ibn Jurayj, Qatada, Al-Rabi ibn Anas, As-Siddi, Al-Qurtubi, and many other scholars of Tafsir of Quran, may Allah's mercy be on all of them, said that Allah caused Uzair to die. Allah caused Uzair to go to death, take his body out when the sun was coming up, when the sun was out. Okay? That means early morning or morning, and he was able to see the sun that is coming up. And then after 100 years, he put the life back in Uzair, but sun was still up and has not gone, though 100 years have passed. Okay, sun rose and sun set. Okay, sunrise happened, sunset happened for 100 years, but Uzair was dead. So he saw the sun when he was was being put to death, and he saw the sun when he was resurrected. So he thought that it is the same sun, it is the same time, it is the same day. So he said, Yawman aw ba'da yawm, that either a day or part of the day. Means that when Uzair was resurrected, sun was still shining, and he thought that it was the sun of the same day when Allah put him to death. Allah put him to death. That's why he said a day or part of the day. You see, may Allah have mercy on all these scholars They are at the same time are linguists. They are the scholars of Quran and scholars of the language, of original language of Quran. That they drive these meanings, and they went to question Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or Ashab al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever was there. If the Taba Tabi'i was there, he went to a Tabi'i, and Tabi'i went to a companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the companion asked that question from Rasulullah directly. And if people doubt that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam may not even knew something or did not give the good answer or anything or the correct answer, then there are no basis of our deen. There are no basis of our deen. We need to find something else. Astaghfirullah, na'udhu. But when we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the power of Allah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that his staunchest enemy says that he never lied. He never gave a misstatement, a wrong statement about anything. But if Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was asked a question and he didn't know the answer, there were two things happened. Number one, he kept quiet. He didn't give the wrong answer. Number two, Allah guided him immediately or sometime after. And there are many examples of that, including the examples about the question about liquor. Okay? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not give an immediate answer. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Najm says, وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى وَمَا ضَلَّ صَاحِبُكُمْ وَمَا غَوَى إِنْ هُوَ وَحْيٌ يُوحَى عَلَّمَهُ شَدِيدُ الْقُوَى. That this friend of yours, Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the person you know from the day he was born, he does not say anything from something on his own, on his own, but he is being guided and he is being taught. He is being taught by the one who is the most powerful, appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Talking about who? Jibreel alayhi salam, that he brought the message of Allah to him. He is not saying all these things from himself. Now you would find people that not only they will go after the companions of the Prophet, they will go after the Prophet, and they will even have questions about ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran. And they doubt it and create problems, create mischief, create doubts about ayat of Quran. Wa ayadu billah. Where are we going to stop? When are we going to pull back and say, this is not my field? Go steady, you will find the answer. They don't, but they still shoot their mouth. So, at that point, the next part of the ayah comes, it says, Qala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Jibreel to tell him, Qala bal labithu miyata amin. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, rather you have remained dead for 100 years. Look at your food and your drink. Lam yatasanna. Fanzur ila ta'amika wa sharabika lam yatasanna. That nothing happened to your food. It remained fresh after 100 years. And we'll talk about what was his food at that time. Quran talks about it. Uzair said, I stayed day or part of the day. He was told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he remained dead for 100 years. Then he saw how the town has changed. When the life came back to him, and he looked in the same town which has turned into ruins, has changed, and there are buildings and vegetations and there are people. And he was in the outer skirt of the town. And he can see the buildings and and the trees there. Uzair had some grapes and some figs, and he had a water skin for water or milk or whatever he had in the water skin with him. He was told to look at your food first. So after he was resurrected after 100 years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him the miracle. That you yourself were dead. You saw how your body was rebuilt, reconstructed, and you were brought back to life. You were resurrected. But look at your food. Look at your food. Food has a lesser time span, lesser span of life than a human, right? But his food was exactly the way it was. What does that mean? That his drink from the water skin didn't spoil. His figs did not become bitter, remained sweet, and his grape did not rot. Put the grapes out for 2 days, see what happens to them. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word lam yatasanna, means it has not gone bad. It has not expired. You know, everything which we create, we put an expiration date on it, right? Expiration date on it. And it had not changed because Allah, this is what Allah's power was. Nothing dried up, nothing got rotted over 100 years, and everything remained as fresh as Uzair took it the day he started his journey. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, told him to look at your food. First, look at your body, how I resurrected it, how I brought it back to life. Then he told him to look at your food. Nothing happened to it. You saw your body, you were destroyed, you were turned into dust. So we gathered everything, we brought you back to life, and you made you an eyewitness, you are watching. وَلِنَجْعَلَكَ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ, that you are watching as a proof, you are a proof that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did this to you and resurrection happened to you. So, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, وَانظُرْ إِلَى هِمَارِكَ وَلِنَجْعَلَكَ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ وَانظُرْ إِلَى الْإِذَامِ كَيْفَ نُنْشِزُهَا ثُمَّ نَكْسُهَا لَحْمًا. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and look at your donkey, and we will make you a sign for people, and look at the bones of your donkey, and how we raise them, and how we collect them, and then how we cover them with flesh. You know. So wanzur means look. Look is not ordinary look, but means pay attention, look carefully. Look very carefully. A look which you will never forget. A look which you will never forget. That is wanzur. Himarika means your donkey. People have forgot everything else and only donkeys are left. That's why we have so many problems. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when the words came, وَلِنَجْعَلَكَ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ, means, and we, Allah will make you a sign as an example, a proof, and an eyewitness for people that the resurrection occurs and will occur whenever Almighty Allah would wants it. Not in your hand, it's in Allah's hand. Absolute might, majesty, and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Life and death and everything else in the middle, in between. The word idhan means bones. The word kaifa nunshizuha means how we Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bring back together and reconstruct the bones. Bones, if they are dried, if you leave them, they will turn into dust.
Dust, yeah.
Okay? Allah created from dust and made it bone and then turned it into dust. And because Uzair questioned, he wanted to show him the same dust I'm going to recreate. That's how we will be created. All the donkeys. So the word kaifa nunshizuha, that means that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring them back to life and resurrect them. And then it says thumma naksuha lahma. Thumma naksuha lahma. It means that how Allah clothes the bone with flesh and veins and and other body parts with the body has. Other parts of the body which has, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wahab ibn Munabbah, Sayyidina Ad-Dahhak, Sayyidina Ar-Rabi ibn Anas said, this portion of the ayah means that look at the left, look at your donkey you left under that tree. Okay? First, showed him what? Gave him eyes. So he can see how his body is created. Then next step told him, look, you were completely destroyed, you were dust. Your eyes were looking how the dust become bone, and then I put the flesh and veins and everything, and your body became and put life in you, and you got up. Now look at your food. Nothing happens to you. Nothing happens to your food, and you were completely destroyed. I reconstructed you, but kept your food in the time when you had them. So they remain fresh. Now look at your donkey, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. This portion of the ayah means the left. Look at the donkey you left under that tree. Its bones were scattered everywhere around you. You saw some of the bones were left, bigger bones did not turn into dust yet. They are decaying and destroying. But the smaller bones and flesh and all that and skin was all gone. Okay? All turned into dust. And said, look how we collect and put them back together. And how we, Allah, will bring back the donkey to life, and you will watch how it happens right in front of your eyes while you are wide awake watching the truth of Allah's power and His might and His majesty. Sayyidina Mujahid and Sayyidina As-Suddi stated that Uzair observed the scattered bone of the donkey all around him. He looked, Allah told him, go look, unzur ila himarika. That look around and look at find your donkey where you left under the tree. There is nothing left but the bones, large bones. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the wind to blow in that area, collect wherever the dirt, wherever the particles of the donkey's bone were, which has turned into dust. The wind was told to bring those particles back to where the donkey's remaining skeleton is. Bring it back together. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the dust of the donkey, the bones from the donkey, and from all over the area in one place. Then Allah ordered the bones to get back into their original place, how a donkey's bones are put in a skeleton, until they form a full skeleton of a donkey made of bones only, just the skeleton. Then Allah covered those bones with flesh and nerves and veins and skin and all other body parts. And then Allah ordered an angel to come and blow the ruh, the spirit, into the soul, into that donkey. And immediately when Allah ordered, the soul was blown into that skeleton of donkey with the not a skeleton. Now by this time he had the flesh and bone. The bones have flesh and all of the body parts. And as soon as the ruh came in, the spirit was blown into the donkey. The donkey started braying, making the noise. The donkey's noise. For what reason? Because Allah allowed him to reform. Allah resurrected him. Allah reformed him. Allah resurrected him. Gave him life back to him. Not only to Uzair, but also to his donkey. Okay? Then the angel told Uzair, Allah will make Uzair himself a sign, a proof, an eyewitness that the resurrection will happen and after death, as and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, not by anybody else's. Like Namrud used to say that I give life and I give death. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, look at this. From a human, from the food to the dirt, to the dust, to the human, to bones and the skeleton, and then complete body shaped. Body was shaped. Ikrimah radiallahu anhu said Uzair alayhi salam was 40 years old when he was brought back to life. Okay? Each and every messengers, my respected brothers and sisters, except 3, those who are to the human knowledge, and Allah knows better, to the human knowledge there are 3 messengers, those who are messengers and prophets from birth. Number 1 was Adam alayhi salam. Number 2 talks about was Yahya, John the Baptist, which they call. And number 3 was Sayyidina Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus, the son of Virgin Mary. He was from the day of his birth. He was appointed a prophet and messenger and given the book. And Quran talks about it in chapter Maryam, the only divine book which has a designated chapter about Sayyida Maryam, the Virgin Mary, and talk about her and Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam in extreme honor and respect. Ikramah said Uzair was 40 years old and he was resurrected after 100 years old. After 100 years he was resurrected, right? So what his age was? 140, right? 40, and when he was resurrected, 100 years he was like a dead body, and he was gone, and bones were all turned into dust and everything else. He was ordered at that time, at that age, to return to his village. Go back to where you came from. Go back to your village. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed him prophet. وَلِنَجْعَلَكَ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ, and we will make you an ayah. What do we call? You will hear it from our masajid that ayah means a verse. Quran does not have verse. Go look at the meaning of the word verse. V-E-R-S-E. Verse means a line of poetry. Quran is not a book of poetry. We need to learn Quran and then talk about it. No, we put people up and say that in the verse such and such, astaghfirullah, na'udhu. Allah said this. No, these are not verses. These are ayat. What is the meaning of ayah? Here is the meaning of ayah. The word, the ayah is that it is a sign. It's an example. It's a lesson. It's an order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what ayah means. It does not mean that it is a line of poetry. Astaghfirullah, na'udhu. And then it says, Sayyidina Ikramah says that Uzair was told to go back to his village. When he arrived at his village, his children and his grandchildren were also old. Children and grandchildren were old because he had that 100 years gap. And Allah, when He resurrected him, did not resurrect him in a body of 140 years old man. No, He resurrected him in the body of a 40-year-old man. You know, he was in a different time zone. He was in a totally different time zone. Sayyidina Uzair alayhi salam. Sayyidina Abdullah ibn Abbas said, when Allah resurrected Uzair, he was told to ride his donkey, the same donkey which was turned into dust, was resurrected, and told Uzair, who was turned into dust, and he was resurrected, told him to ride his donkey, resurrected donkey, take the same food. لم يتسنى وانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنى. That take that same food and take the same water and skin with the drinks you have in it, and it has not gone bad. Take it with you and go back to your town and go home. And he did not recognize, when he entered his village, nobody recognized him, and he did not recognize people. Then he saw a very old woman in the house where Uzair used to live, but she was blind. And he asked her, is this Uzair's house? And that woman told him, yes, this is Uzair's house, but Uzair has left us 100 years ago. 100 years ago. He told that woman, I am Uzair. He told the woman, that old woman who was blind, he said, I am Uzair. Allah made me die for 100 years. People knew he was a scholar when he said that he is Uzair, but they did not know him at that time. So, Allah made me die for 100 years, and then He brought me back to life to show you that Allah is most powerful, most omnipotent. He can do anything He wants, whenever and with whoever He wants. Okay? So this woman, when he saw him, he said that He brought me back to life to show people His might and His power and His majesty, and show them what the truth is. And Allah has absolute control over everything. She said to Uzair, she did not recognize him. He looked a young man of 40 years old. So she said, Uzair, I knew 100 years ago. Uzair, I knew 100 years ago, used to make dua, used to make prayers to Allah and ask Allah to remove afflictions and diseases and problems from people. If you are Uzair, stand up in prayer and ask your Lord that Allah gives my eyesight back to me. Uzair stood up, prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then came to this woman and touched her both eyes with his hands. Not that he blew up something, because blowing is haram in Islam. We don't blow on things. Here you have people blowing on water and say drink 7 times a day or for 7 days. This has nothing to do with Islam. So, he prayed, and after prayer, he touched that woman's eye and Allah brought back her eyesight. She started seeing again. And then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restored her eyesight. That woman ran back to the other people in the town, in the village, to the other houses. And she was outside the house of Uzair, which has a 100-year-old Uzair's son inside. The father is 40. Okay? So, she ran to him, to her and his other children, and they were all old, and the grandchildren. And he told them that Uzair is out here. Look, he is back. Look, my eyesight are back. Uzair came back to us. Allah resurrected him. He came back. So she went and told others. One of them was a 110 years old son of Uzair. 110-year-old son of Uzair. She said, "Oh people, by Allah, this is Uzair, and he has come back. This is him." His son went to Uzair and he said, "Oh, if you are my father, then my father used to have a birthmark on his back, in between his two shoulder bones, where the shoulder bones are. He had a birthmark on his back. If you are my father, if you are Uzair, lift your shirt." So he lifted his shirt and showed the birthmark. So the son hugged his father and he said, "Yes, you are Uzair. You are my father. You are my father." Who else had the birthmark, which is called Muhar al-Nabuwa? Muhar al-Nabuwa, Khatm al-Nabuwa. Muhammad al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to have a birthmark between his shoulders. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam everything which he awarded to other messengers and prophets. Uzair showed them the birthmark, and they accepted that they hugged him and they accepted him that yes, he was Uzair. We have about 8 minutes left. We may go over 2 more minutes, but inshallah, this is a wonderful topic. The last part of the ayah is فَلَمَّا تَبَيَّنَ لَهُ قَالَ أَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. How do we read? We say أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. No, don't rush in Quran. It's not كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. Everything. How we say that. Oh, my car has everything in it which you can think of. But when it comes to Quran, كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. Astaghfirullah wa billah. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. That, and when it became evident to Uzair, he said, "I know, I have learned that Allah is able to do all things." All things. If that kind of miracle is shown to us today, we will, astaghfirullah, na'uzubillah, we will change our religion. We don't believe on this, it doesn't happen. And what they will do next, they'll go on Google and search. MashaAllah, the religion is dependent on Google. This is where we are today. The portion of the ayah means that the resurrection of Uzair and his donkey occurred while Uzair was watching. Uzair was an eyewitness. Prophets and messengers of Allah have seen things that nobody else has seen. Allah did not show it to everybody. That's why they were appointed prophets. Show them things which their eyes can take. So, and this is when he proclaimed, it is then when everything became evident to Uzair, and he said that I witnessed with my own eyes how my resurrection, how my body was resurrected by Allah, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrected and collected the bones, made the skeleton and put flesh and veins and all the body parts on my donkey and me. And I watched it myself. And then he says, أَعْلَمُ أَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٍ. That I learned, and I have learned that Allah is able to do all things, all competent Allah, all powerful and the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he told people that Allah made me an eyewitness of what he did to me and what he did to my donkey. And look, nothing happened to my food. He was still carrying that food. So they recognized, his family recognized Uzair's water skin. That, oh, this was the container of my father. He used to carry the water. 100 years later, nothing happened to that water, neither to the water nor to the skin. the water is skin for it. And the death, and it says Allah, and then Uzair told people that look, you need to follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look, Allah has shown me the knowledge, given me the knowledge of matters of life and death more than any one of you. I have been through it, I've seen it with my own eyes, how it happened. And then he started calling people As-Suddi towards Islam. And As-Suddi, rahmatullah alayhi, At-Tabari, Al-Qurtubi, Makki, and Ibn Kathir, rahmatullah alayhi, said, and among others, there are many other scholars in that it became personally evident to Uzair as he witnessed the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring the dead from life, and the thing which was living remain in its own shape and form without lam yatasanna, that nothing destroyed. Among the fruits and water, it stayed the way it was. Allah can do both things. They can stay there for 100 years and nothing happened. They can stay there for 100 years and they are vanished. They can stay there for thousands of years and Allah will bring it back as and what He wants and when He wants. This is faith, my respected brothers and sisters. Allah brought him back to life and had him and made him an eyewitness to how his own body was reconstructed and given life, and then how he met his family, and then how he got on the donkey which was all gone and dead. And he resurrected from dust back to life himself. At the end, my respected brothers and sisters, some among us today, we all experience it. I experience it because I get a lot of questions on different topics from a lot of people. And I experience that a lot of us, Muslims, like me, those who just claim to be a Muslim, me claiming to be a Muslim and not looking or not worrying or not respecting or following the guidelines which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given through Quran, and not refraining from his deliberate disobedience, but I still call myself a Muslim. Call myself a Muslim. So those, instead of people like me, instead of learning and researching and admitting the shallowness of our limited knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls it, وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنْ إِلْمٍ إِلَّا قَلِيلٍ. I have not given you of knowledge except very little. We need to realize that we are not Nimrod. We can't bring the sun from west. Forget Google. No, do your research on Google for whatever. Even in religion, do it. There are a lot of things which are available. Okay? But don't doubt Allah. Have your belief, have your faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and learn. And you would learn that what is the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That instead of realizing the shallowness of our limited knowledge, we create doubts and disputes about the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah the Almighty. You must have experience. People will say, I don't believe on this ayah. You don't want to believe? Good luck. More power to you. Don't believe. It doesn't hurt no one but you. So do whatever you like. So they create doubts about Almighty Allah, about the death and burial, about initial questioning on grave. Somebody asked me a question a few days ago and said, there is no questioning in grave. There is no questioning in grave. Well, Hitler will be very happy. So will all racists, and those who do discrimination and those who have killed hundreds of thousands of people. They'll be all happy if they were with this idiot, who says that there is no questioning in grave. And even some believe that Allah would not bring us back to life on the day of judgment. So that person is not a believer. And I pray for that person that he sees the light of truth, even through Google. Go search it, Google it, find it, learn it. Don't pick a battle with God. It's your loss, it's your gain. Allah is what He is. He doesn't lose. We will, people like me. That's why Allah the Almighty in ayah number 256, 2 ayats before this, told us what after ayat al-Kursi? There is no compulsion in religion. After the path to Allah and the path to His defiance, Both have been clearly defined and shown to you. There is no compulsion of in religion. It doesn't mean that I can remain Muslim, but I can still sell liquor. I can remain Muslim and I can still discriminate against people. I can remain Muslim, call myself Muslim, and I will still call people that I'm better than them and they are inferior than me. There is no such thing. That person lives in fool's paradise. Go to your favorite website, Google, and search, and you will find the truth. The numerous events described throughout the glorious Quran, my respected brothers and sisters, and the one incident of Uzair. We have 2 minutes. 1 minute or 2 minutes? Okay. 2 minutes? Okay. The numerous events described throughout the Quran and Sunnah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and incidents of Uzair provide answers to clueless, arrogant mortals. We are all dying. We're not going to live here forever. Pick your fight. Pick your battles. Pick your battles where you can win. You can't win against God. So, for clueless mortal, arrogant mortals, that Allah brought this ayah as a witness, is a testimony, is a proof, is a sign of Allah's might and majesty and His power, that He brought Uzair back to life after 100 years and will bring all of us back to life on the day of resurrection, wherever we will be. Wherever you are buried, you will still remember. Allah has you know what we are more scared of IRS, that they have our social security number, or some hacker have your personal information. Allah created you. He knows everything about you. Allah showed Uzair how He resurrects anything He wants. He showed Uzair few things, and let's discuss that in next 1 or 2 minutes. He showed Uzair how he was put to death for 100 years. How he was reconstructed and brought back to life, and Uzair was given sight in his eyes. That was the first organ Allah brought back to life. So Uzair can see it. Allah showed Uzair that his food was kept ageless in time. He showed how his donkey was resurrected from bones in dust, turned into a living animal again. He also showed him the ruin of the town, which he questioned that how they were brought back. You were still dead, and the town was brought back to life, and the population grew, and Allah sent you back to that town. Actually, for those who believe in Almighty Allah, my respected brothers and sisters, it is irrelevant. It is irrelevant for those who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are my notes. That whoever the person was whether was Uzair or somebody else, is irrelevant totally. The relevant is that Allah is all competent, all powerful, all capable, and knows everything about you and about everything else, and does what He wants to do and whenever He wants to do it. That's the point. Not was it Uzair or not. It can't happen. Google said it can't happen. You can't be alive after you were dead for 100 years. You know, the real purpose is in mentioning this event in Quran is that Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows the light of faith. Allah shows the light of faith and the path of ultimate success and the path to paradise to only those who take Allah as His protector and His supporter. Where is that? In ayah number 257. Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Min adh-dhulumati ila an-nur. Uzair's question does not signify that he had concerns, doubted about life, or denied about things about life or life after death. His inquiry was merely about his wish to receive the knowledge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the correct knowledge, so he can follow, correct knowledge of reality of Allah and His powers, and so he can follow the path of his Lord Almighty and have understanding like all the prophets and messengers أقول قولي هذا واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Inshallah, we will make dua, and after this dua, we are going to end the program. And next week's ayah, ayah number 260, would be on the same topic. وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّي أَرِنِي كَيْفَ تُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى. Ibrahim alayhi salam questioning, oh Allah, show us, how do you bring the dead back to life? Reminding people that don't think it's end of a story. You have been Hitler all your life, on your family, on your wife, on your husband, on your children, and doing whatever you wanted to do, and nobody is going to ask you a question. So watch your steps. Whose tail are you, or whose toe you are stepping today? اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب جهنم وادخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا كريم. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. والفاتحة. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. But please, I request you to share and invite other people to this and any other program which you like. Let's learn Quran, because before our eyes are closed, we are not Uzair, we will not be brought back to life after 100 years and enjoy this world again. Once we die, we'll be in grave. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.